James A. Garfield was born November 19th, 1831. He was the youngest of five children, lived the majority of his early life in a log cabin in Ohio. Like his father, he loved the outdoors. He dreamed of becoming a sailor, and at the age of 16, he ran away to work on the boats. He fell overboard apparently 15 times, giving himself a fever and having to go home. After his incidents, he chose to use his smarts rather than using his physicality. Immediately after leaving his job at the boats, he decided to study at Electric Institute in Ohio. During his stay at the institute, Garfield was a serious student, although he enjoyed hunting, fishing, drinking in moderation. After graduating, he eventually got into state politics and helped campaign for John C. Fremont, who was a nominee for the newly reformed Republican Party. Garfield was elected to the Ohio State Senate in 1859 as a Republican. In 1862, he was successfully led a brigade into Kentucky against Confederate troops, and he was promoted to a brigadier general. After resigning from the military, Garfield repeatedly won re-election in Congress for 18 years and became the leading Republican in the House. In 1880, during the Republican convention, on the 36th ballot, Garfield became a dark horse candidate. Garfield won the election by a small margin of 10,000 votes. As President, Garfield strengthened the federal government. While planning a conference that ended up never taking place, on July 2, 1881, at the Baltimore and Potomac Railroad Station, Charles Guiteau shot President Garfield in the back.
Writing, as usual. When he set out to kill President Garfield, he had with him a gun, an autobiography, and his book.
He took a carriage to the Baltimore and Potomac depot to intercept vacation-bound Garfield. Guiteau told the cab driver to wait. He would be going to jail momentarily.
Garfield and his party walked through the waiting room on their way to, ironically, parlor car number 222, the same number as the room number of Guiteau at the Riggs Hotel. Guiteau approached Garfield from behind, took out his revolver, and shot Garfield in the back. The bullet pierced a major artery and lodged in Garfield's pancreas. Guiteau fired again, very wildly.
Guiteau thought he had did the job, but he was wrong. Garfield, however, did not die. Guiteau was a lawyer with a history of mental illness. He stated that God told him to shoot the president. Charles Guiteau was born on September 8, 1841 in Freeport, Illinois. Throughout Guiteau's life, he was very religious and studied theology and law. Guiteau wrote a speech that was delivered by James Garfield. Many people believed that he was responsible for Garfield's presidential win. He requested that the president appoint him as an ambassador to Paris. After being turned down for the job as the ambassador, Guiteau shot Garfield. The trial of Charles Guiteau had media everywhere, viewing the defendant as a celebrity in a way. He was found guilty on January 23rd and hung on June 30th, 1882. After being shot once in the arm, Garfield was quickly shot again in the vertebrae of his spine and lodged in his abdomen. Fully conscious, in pain, and unable to stand, President Garfield cried out, "My God, what is this?" After Guiteau was seized by a police officer, a battery of Washington doctors came running over to help President Garfield. Focused on finding the bullet, the group of doctors stuck their unwashed fingers in the wound and probed around without Garfield with an stethoscope. During his last 80 days of life, Garfield wasted away from about 210 pounds to about 130. Garfield was diagnosed with an overwhelming infection known as sepsis, which means to rot in Greek. On September 19th, the president had his final breath and clutched his chest while wailing, this pain. The cause of death included a heart attack and a rupture of the spleen.